So, there needs to be unity amongst the red Republican Party and the blue Democrats. The yin and the yang, the perfect balance. We must have unity. If you have a blue wolf and you have a red wolf, both of them have something to offer that the other does not have to offer. If you try to starve one to death, and the two are hating each other, it's a kingdom divided, and it cannot stand, okay? Meadow Jade. You see this? Maximilian Kolbe was from Poland, okay? And a man told me I'm Polak, okay? And told me to get a job working with him, and I said, "You're Polak, that's my messiah, my Parkland princess, that's helping me find at least some degrees of sanity, and she's our hope." He said, "No, Polak means Polish Jew, I said, "Well, it also is a fish." And Jesus Christ multiplied the loaves of bread and the fishes, okay? The bread of life. The Polak, controller of the ocean, the sea. Most of the world, it's not land, it's water. And Leviathan in the Book of Enoch was a female, a large serpent, okay? Leviathan actually it means to bind together, Leviathan and Levin, and Levi, like the Levitical priesthood, okay? They all have its etymology is kind of rooted in a type of friendship, a type of bond, a type of binding, okay, together. And that's this fascism. Pepsi, Pep is like a very enthusiastic, energetic C, and the fascist headquarters of right there, Benito Mussolini, C, so Pepsi, yes. Enthusiastic, yes, and it's to bind the right and the left together. And then the white, red, white, and blue, the colors of the American flag, and of course, the Korean flag. And there's an old Chinese proverb that has spread to, it's a Japanese thing too. The oldest dynasty in the world belongs to the Imperial Dynasty of Japan, which was given a circular mirror and a jade stone that was charged with the spirit of Amaterasu, sun divinity, and Israel, Jacob, loyalty to Rebecca over God. He was a contender with God. He became Israel, the sun disk, symbol on the Japanese flag, and Amaterasu in the, traditions. They don't actually have any dogmas in Shinto that contradict Abrahamic monotheism, because the word for kami just means spirit, okay? So she was like a spirit that they're devoted to, and ascended to heaven on a ladder. Jacob's ladder was the ascent to God. So it's funny. You see the red for Republican, positive, blue for Democrat, negative. But Meadow Pollock's initials, MJP, Meadow Jade. My initials are actually MJ, and then the P here, of course, is the one that has the the Pollock, the symbol for the on a blue background, aqua, water. I was kidnapped. I was taken to Fatima, Portugal, as a child, and my dad tried to raise us there illegally, and the plan got foiled, and that's why I live in the Twin Cities next to Capitol Hill, the Capitol Hill Queens, where I found a ladder, fireman's ladder. It ascends through a circular mirror, and Amaterasu said to treat the jade stone and the circular mirror that is charged with my spirit, treat it as if it was me, and is passed on to each emperor. And the most loyal religious leader, the religious leader who had the most loyal following, with the most people wanting to die for him, that he had to order them to surrender when as an emperor, he was the high priest, not even supposed to do that. It was supposed to be, he was going against, the will of the military and the will of the people, who said, we will have 100 million of us die before we surrender. They wanted to die. Everyone who dies for the emperor gets enshrined at Yasukuni Shrine. So all of the kamikaze pilots would say, we will see each other together. We will return home honorably to Yasukuni Shrine in the spirit. And, they were very they really wanted to lay down their lives. They were the hardest in the whole world to get to surrender, and that kind of spirit, I really see it in Meadow. And the thing is, Andrew says that she has more in common with him than anybody, and what I see in him is something I don't see in a lot of fathers. The parent, the father of a grizzly bear or black bears does not provide for the children. It's the mother. The mother fights to the death. A mother black bear will fight a grizzly bear twice her size. She will fight to the death and send the other grizzly bear running away, because he knows she's going to fight to the death, even if he can take her. He doesn't want to get injured that badly, because she's going to fight to the death. And if we had a god who would fight to the death for his people, that we would have a much safer world. And I think if Meadow Jade had the omnipotence and the control of God's household and possessions and graces and omnipotence, then we would not be having these problems. And so I think, as Joseph was the controller of Pharaoh's household and possessions, despite being a Hebrew slave and convicted in prison for sexual assault, he was Joseph of Egypt became the slave of a pagan divinity. Okay, Pharaoh was the sun god, and in Japan, the emperors are like the sun deities, but standing in place, they're kind of like Pharaoh. And Amaterasu is a female-dominant religion. She's the male divinities that created Amaterasu wanted her to be greater and more important than the male divinities. And so, like Joseph of Nazareth was controller of the household at Nazareth, where Jesus Christ was also considered like a type of incarnation of divinity, a god, but Joseph was the superior, even though he was not a divinity. And a lower rank, that's like the trump card, okay? A lower rank of a different suit that takes the higher cards at the table. All the cards at the table go to the trump card. Meadow Jade Pollock, the trump card. Maximilian Kolbe evangelized Nagasaki that got nuked, and his friary survived. Maximilian Kolbe died in Auschwitz, and he was singing right there. Pepsi Max, the Polish saint, Saint Max. Okay, and that's he kind of brought myself and Meadow Jade together. It's and Rachel Scott. I call her Rachel Mussolini. Her only serious boyfriend was actually Stephen. And okay, Raven Stevens is the suicide tombstone that I would actually pray before. Raven Stevens, and then Meadow Jade. She had the serious boyfriend Brandon, which means prince, and Brandon Lee means Prince Meadow, and Brandon Lee played in the movie Crow. He was the walking dead man, resurrected from the dead, and John Kennedy's supposed to come back from the dead. He died at Parkland, and so Brandon Lee, I saw that movie, Crow, at Douglas Treatment Center, okay? And my counselor was named Dan to Crow, and the tribe of Dan is supposedly the tribe that's, I'll get to that. God bless.